I'm here with Principal Kroll at Silverthorne Elementary in Houston, which is a small town, and Bulkley Valley, I heard it's called.
Yeah, we're part of the Bulkley Valley. We're just east of, we're about 70 kilometers east of Smithers.
Cool. And I've been in Smithers all week. I'm staying there and been at Silverthorne the last 2 days, which I love when I get multiple days because I get to do a ton of stuff with the kids, especially with the older kids. I think they find the most value from that. With the younger kids, it's working a lot on the balance and that physical literacy skills, but the older kids really get to elevate and take that to the next level, which I really love. But she's been at a bunch of different schools around this area.
I have, yeah.
All different ages as well. So she's really had a good perspective on what works. You have a lunch program here, which is awesome. You have a breakfast program. Walking in the hallways, you see skates all throughout the hallways. So there's enough skates for every single kid. Really important to have that involvement, I think. And I really love that you're doing that.
Yeah, this school, we've really taken an initiative over the last few years, realizing that a lot of our students who come to our school don't have a lot of fitness or even outdoor recreational time in their lives, and a few too many of them spend a lot of time on video games.
Yeah.
So we have taken set our goals around being outside. All of our classes snowshoe, play outside all winter long. You know, where kids are even wanting to play outside when it's really cold. You know, they want to be out there. They've learned how to be out there and how to dress properly and how to stay warm. And we also take health very seriously for our students, and so we have initiated healthy breakfast and lunch programs, and that kids don't have to pay for that. Anyone can eat. We do a lot of fundraising for that, but we also grow our own produce, and the kids are involved with helping out with that. And we do a lot of things in the community. We do, as you saw, the skating. We do cross-country skiing. We make sure we take the kids a couple times downhill skiing so that they can get exposed to that. Most of our students had never been skiing before.
No, I was going to say, that's really cool.
So, you know, over a couple times they get to see, and we spend whenever we can. We do all of our initiatives, such as you, Rob, coming here with your Frisbee. I've watched the students take on to this. It's going to be amazing because outside at lunch and recess already, today and yesterday, the kids are all out there with Frisbees, playing Frisbee games, and running around and having a great time. So,
well, what I love is when you allow them to do that, sure, other issues will pop up, like we saw with the warning on the board about man tracker. So now we might have warnings like, okay, no Frisbees over here, like let's stay here. But they're at least out there, they're pushing those limits, they're discovering how to play. And it doesn't just have to be with a Frisbee, it just so happens that that's what I love to do. And I know you have a talent show audition here, so that's cool that you're exposing them to other things, not just sports, not just physical activity. I know it's a big part of your life too.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you can bring that to the kids, and you can look back. Like, these kids have no idea what impact will happen 20 years from now, but we can look back and we can say, okay, it's important to skate, because if you learn to skate when you're young, you can play hockey your whole life.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be at a high level. It could just be for fun.
Yeah, and I think we're noticing more and more that we want to teach the students how to be part of the recreational fitness, but also some building blocks, how to properly throw, how to control your body. We even do, we do some yoga in the morning. I do it with younger students, and a lot of that we do is balancing and trying to make sure we're working on those building blocks as well, because a lot of the students never, at the beginning of the year, they can't do a frog pose, and by the end of the year, you have your little guys can hold it for a full minute.
That's amazing.
So they really learn, too, that you need to work on something over a long period of time to get better at it and to get control of it. So I think there's just some deep lessons that they're learning there.
Well, and one thing I've been noticing a lot with the work I do, especially with the young kids, I do a lot of balance games with them, depending on the shoes they're wearing. So if they're really thick soles, sometimes it's better to just take their shoes off and do them in bare feet or sock feet. I do a lot of barefoot running and walking, and it's changed my life.
Right.
I've been doing it for about 10 years. And so that's something I think is important for people watching. If you work with really young kids, we're not trying to get kids throwing and catching Frisbees when they're 5 years old. Just even balancing for 8 seconds is challenging for some of them. So we really need to start those building blocks instead of saying, let's go play, make you a mini baseball player, mini hockey player. No, stand on skates is the first step. And I think a lot of people are missing out on that, because when they started a sport, they started when they're older, and you skip a lot of that stuff.
And even in the mornings before we do our yoga, we do some of the building block exercises that I've learned from the physical literacy workshops I've gone to, where we do, called twisties and things, and just getting stance and getting strong and having your knees in the proper position and using your core. Lots of things like that, and explosive movements.
And what I love with rural schools is typically you don't have a phys ed specialist. And so I find everyone buys into it. You go to a school sometimes with a phys ed specialist, you kind of leave it up to them. And if they're not doing, the PD and going to those workshops, they're just doing sport after sport after sport. And so I like that you're bought into that, and everyone else kind of.
Yeah, and our whole staff, as part of our being outdoors and on the land, we have brought in some outdoor play equipment, which is different than your regular playing equipment. We have logs that kids can roll on. And we built a big sand digging area that they can, and then it's massive. So, the kids, once the snow's gone, that thing is swarming every day with kids playing and digging. But I also love that the kids will just roll around like log chunks, and they roll around and they balance on them, and they jump one to one, and they learn all those balance pieces, and they love those. And it's just a cheap, easy way to bring in equipment.
And I think it helps by setting those standards, giving them the facilities, the opportunities, but also just saying no cell phones. And then it's like, if you have that limit, then they have to go explore within that. If you're saying, okay, we can kind of have it, then they're going to go towards it.
I know schools struggle with the cell phone policy, but we're a K-7, so it's a little easier, right, to manage. But we say no cell phones outside of class, which is an interesting twist. If your teacher wants you to use it in class, they will instruct you how and what their expectations are. But we say no cell phones on the playground whatsoever before school recess or at lunch. And then we just want them to play. And we don't direct a lot of their play at lunch. We just let them play. We have also I don't know if you've seen those big black sleds that we have. The kids, it's a great heavy pulling exercise for kids. They pull each other around. They're not allowed to use them on the snow hills. They just pull each other around out on the field. So it's amazing. Some of the kids will run for 30 minutes at lunch pulling other kids in the sleigh.
Future bobsledders.
Yeah, exactly.
But I noticed that. I was like, there's not really hills that they're on. That's
amazing. No, they're not allowed. Our snow hills get to be very, very steep and very, very big. Icy, so,
I love it. Awesome. But it's been an amazing time here, just getting to travel around. Again, I mostly speak at rural schools. I really have found that to be my niche, and I think I can have the most impact. And hopefully you're starting a Frisbee club. I've heard some good news about that. So
one of our teachers is very keen already to get going for lunchtime Frisbee club.
I love it. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we can get enough schools having a Frisbee club. We can have a Frisbee competition or a Frisbee meet. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll see some future Frisbee stars coming out of here.
I think it's possible. They are very excited about it.
Future athletes or future just people moving, and I don't know. I love it.
I think Frisbee is actually a life skill teaching. When I'm listening to you teaching the kids about where do you put your feet and how do you use your whole body, those are skills that can be transferred so easily to all different sports and even just in life in general.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me in.
It's been fantastic. Thank you for coming.